Am I the a-hole for kicking out my vegan sister after she threw away my dog and I's food? So a few weeks ago, my sister broke up with a longtime boyfriend of 3 years. They lived together, so I opened my home to her and let her stay until she got back on her feet. She's a hardcore vegan, and while I don't care about her dietary choices, I do not believe she should push it on others the way she does so heavily. So anyways, a few days into her staying at my home, I got home from work to see my fridge was almost empty. I thought maybe she had cleaned the fridge for me, but just 2 days ago I went shopping and bought things like bacon, steak, etc. to make my lunches. I went into her room and I asked her what happened to all my food. I figured it was just some sort of mistake, but she informed me that she purposefully cleansed my life of all the dead animals I eat and mistreat. At first, I didn't even believe it, but then it spiraled into a huge argument where she slammed the door in my face. In my own home. I called my mother to let her know what was going on and to get her opinion, where I ended up getting a scolding for how I treated my sister, and how I should know she is going through a lot. At that point, I just hung up because obviously I'm not going to be happy when $50 worth of food is just thrown out for no good reason. Despite this, I figured I would appease my other family members and let her stay, but I let her know she was on thin ice with me. The following day, I fed my dog and went to work. I told her she was not to touch any of my belongings or throw anything away or I would kick her out. She protested, but I told her I was serious and left. When I returned home, my dog's bowl was empty, so I went to refill it in case he was hungry again later on. When I go to get the food, it's gone. I barged into her room and asked her what's the deal with the food being missing. She said she threw out my dog's food and fed him bread instead. My dog isn't even supposed to have gluten. It makes him itchy. She then got in my face telling me the dogs are happier living a vegan lifestyle. I told her my dog would be happier with her living a lifestyle outside of my home, and told her she had 8 hours to get her stuff and go to my mother's. I went out to buy more dog food, and once I returned, not only was her room a wreck, but my dog was gone. I called my mother to explain the situation, and asked if she had a dog with her, and she exploded on me again about how awful I was for not supporting my sister, and that the dog was not at the house with her. A mutual friend of ours let me know she had a dog at my mother's house. However, my mother and sister continued to spin the story to our family, and now they all refuse to speak to me, especially since I had the police help me retrieve him. Am I the a-hole for not letting my sister stay in my home despite pushing her vegan lifestyle on me and my pet? Edit. I was starting to feel conflicted on if I really was being sick and overdramatic for kicking out my sister in need, or if my family really does just enable her. And just to be clear, the dog is safe. I made sure to note it got the police involved, and the dog is currently with me. Edit 2. For more clarification, since people keep asking, my sister and mother only have a 15-year age difference. They're more like friends than mother and daughter. My mother would do anything to please her. I, on the other hand, was born after my father died, and my mother held some sort of resentment to me, which is why I left the home at 18, while my sister stayed until 22 years of age. I didn't have much contact for a while, but when I heard she needed help, I thought this would mend things. Obviously, it did not. It made my relationship with my family worse. They're both vegan, and it also seems they told other family members that I shoved or hit her, which never happened. I am considering fully cutting ties. However, I am worried since she knows my home address. Edit 3. She didn't stay at my mother's because she was housing my aunt and her children for Thanksgiving, which of course I was not invited to. I saw my sister on Facebook saying she needed a place to stay, and this whole big long sob story, so I took her in. Now for the top comments. Not stay home. Crazy vegan breakdown aside, someone who messes with your dog is someone not worth being around. Holy cow. As a vegan, the sister is a complete and total a-hole. She seems desperate to gain control after her breakup, and is misusing her ethical stance to exert control in her new environment. It's not about animal welfare, it's about being in charge. I don't like the meat aisle, but I don't damage the grocery store in a fit of rage. The sister and the mom need to buzz off. Can I be pressed charges for dog napping? Not stay home. Dogs are happier vegans. Dogs are naturally carnivorous. Your sister doesn't know squat. She had no right to touch anything of yours in your own home. Some nerve. Think we know why her relationship broke down. There's a huge case of entitlement and narcissism here. She believes her beliefs and circumstances allow her complete control of her environment when she's a guest, and in complete contradiction of being a good guest. She dog-napped an innocent doggo. It's obvious where she was enabled, the people who are defending her. Next story. Am I the a-hole for calling my wife selfish and ungrateful when she suggested we cut back on saving for our son's college, rather than spending for her entertainment? I, male 29, work full-time to support my son, 15 months old, and wife, 28. She's unemployed but is a stay-at-home mom and we're both happy with that, usually. Recently, money's been tight as I haven't been bringing as much home. I work in sales on commission, so I've been trying to figure out how to make ends meet while looking for a better job. We spend about $60 a month on a 4 to 5 streaming services, HBO/Netflix, etc. And my wife spends about $50 a month in mobile games, and over $100 in ordering lunch through Uber Eats. I wouldn't mind if we could afford it, but right now we can't. When I brought up cutting back, she said streaming services and mobile games were the only breaks she had from working at keeping up the house and caring for our son, and ordering out made lunchtime a break instead of more work for her. I asked her to please stop ordering out and to get rid of some of the streaming services or the mobile games. She said that's silly, and it was the hair dye and teeth whitening I pay for that was why we're short each month, but I shouldn't be so vain and to give this up for the family. I spent about $150 for them every few months, and if it was just me that'd be one thing, but I get both done for work. Believe me, I wish it wasn't the case, but people are just more open and friendly with me when I'm not a ginger dude with brown teeth. I don't want to have to do it, but I feel I have to, so I'm on a level playing field. I said she had plenty of time to relax when I got home, since I always cook and clean up after dinner and take care of our son until bedtime. She told me that doesn't mean anything when she can't do the things she enjoys, as if she didn't enjoy spending time with me, and that we would have plenty of money if I didn't put $200 a month away for our son's college fund. I reminded her we agreed to this before our son was born, and that if we didn't keep at it, we weren't going to have enough when he turns 18. She said we didn't even know if he wanted to go to college yet, and that I had no idea how hard it was raising a child, have plenty experience feeding and changing diapers, and that our work at home is just as stressful as my job if not more. I might be the a-hole already, but this is the part that really stuck with me. I said she wasn't grateful for the work I was doing, and selfish to think of her own entertainment over providing for our son. She snapped back at me that I was being abusive both emotionally and by trying to withhold money. And at that point, I was just floored and walked out. I'm hiding away in my home office now. She's never said anything like that to me before. And to be honest, I don't really know what she means as far as withholding money, since I've always given her what she asks for, as far as I can remember. Is it really abusive to cut back on spending? Did I go too far? Edit. I wasn't very clear on the Uber Eats thing. So for people asking questions, I don't know exactly how much it is, as I haven't ever added it all up, but it's 3 times a week, so between $100 and $400 a month. Also, I appreciate you all for taking time to share your thoughts. Not day home. $50 in mobile games a month? The heck is that all about? There are games you can buy for $10 and play for hundreds of hours. Introduce her to Stardew Valley or Minecraft or something. Uber Eats is just a goddamn scam. Get rid of that BS immediately. Tell her to rotate streaming services. I doubt she's watching HBO, Disney+, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Apple TV, and Hulu, enough each month to make each of them worth it each month. I rotate them on a monthly basis. 1 month is HBO month, next is Hulu month, next is Disney month, etc. Don't sacrifice your kid's future for you or your wife's momentary pleasure. Not day home. Get rid of Uber Eats. That one is fair. You bring a lunch to work and so does your wife. Uber Eats is such an expensive and so unnecessary. Deleting the app saved me money. No, you're not abusive and she should apologize for saying that. You're trying to keep the family financially afloat, not blocking her access to money. Tell her half the game's gotta go, but the streaming services are needed as a parent. How else do you drown out your children screaming and playing? There are games that don't cost money monthly. You cut back too. Also, if being a stay-at-home mom is too much for her, she can go to work 40 hours a week and cover daycare. I appreciate how hard staying home can be, but sometimes that extra $400 to $500 a month they can make above and beyond childcare costs can be a night and day difference to household finances. Plus, she gets time out of the house. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for confronting my friend and ruining our kids' friendship? Okay, I'll try to keep this short. So I have this BFF, 40s female that is man-hungry. She picks these men who are all sorts of wrong, is a serial wife and legit flip-flops from one ex back to the other and plays them against each other. She constantly comes for advice, and I've gotten to the point of telling her that I think she's making a mistake, but I'll support her no matter what. I always felt she's a good person and means well, but kinda screwed up in a few things. No big deal. She has 2 kids my kid's age and they were super close. We were like a little family. We were always together. She randomly last minute asked me over summer to watch one of her kids for a week due to some work conference. I was in the middle of a house renovation and sharing a room with my kid. I wanted to help, but it was impossible. I felt awful and I told her no. But then I tried to help by seeing if the conference she was going to had a Zoom option, which is when I found out there was no conference at all. She was very specific with immense detail that then proved easy to double-check. Her ex lived in a neighboring state. I never told her I knew, but then she kept giving me details of her trip that proved that she was in fact going to a state and not where she said. She texted at the airport, she texted me about events in real time, and none of it was true. I was super disappointed that she lied and tried to manipulate me with a working single mom angle instead of just being honest. But in the end, I decided to never let her know that I knew. She kept lying about the trip after the fact too, which pissed me off, but I tried to big picture it that our kids were besties. And she was probably embarrassed, so just let it go. Flash forward a few weeks to her wanting to get her kids some passes for something that we had passes for. But my passes were restricted, so I had one last day to upgrade them so we could go together. I spoke to her a lot about the cost, made sure she was buying them, then upgraded to the tune of $300. Every time I tried to make plans, there was some lame excuse. Then she started pulling away, canceling plans, etc. Every time I tried to make plans for these tickets, there would be another excuse. Like one kid's birthday. Let's use our ticks. No, they're grounded. Then she takes an impromptu road trip with them to the zoo and posts it on Facebook. Gave me some lame excuse that it was last minute. Whatever. Final straw was she canceled for my kid's birthday party. She said her kids were sick. Then I see them on Facebook at the beach. So finally, I confronted her and told her I was upset she lied about the party. She then said, I'm not a liar. To which I then just snapped and unleashed a barrage of, like the passes you said you bought? Like the conference that you never went to, etc. We never spoke again, and now our kids don't either. I feel so badly that this mom drama ruined our kids' friendship. Am I the a-hole for confronting her? Edited to add. Time frame was we were friends for years, and the trip lied to my kid's birthday was roughly a month and a half. Not the a-hole. Your kids will make new friends, and so will you. I do feel sad that I was so wrong about her, and truly cared for her and was there for her in many different ways that were outside my comfort zone. But I have a full life, and cutting someone out when I'm done is pretty much my go-to. I have another friend who pretty much gets past everything with everyone, and they all find a way to heal and move on. I don't know how to do that, and sometimes I wonder if I should learn. But ultimately, I really don't want to. Wondering if it's healthier? I don't know. I'm probably overthinking it. Not the a-hole. She's a fake and a flake. You probably saved your kids heartache later on. You'll probably find out that they didn't like this woman or her kids all that much. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my boss no to working weekends when my coworkers don't? I got hired for this salary job where they really hyped up the work-life balance and reasonable hours and job interview. Like the way that they never expect people to stay late or work on weekends or holidays. That turned out to be BS. My boss got my personal phone number off my resume from when I applied, and after not long, he was blowing up my phone on nights and weekends, asking me to come work. I'd always not answer. Then when he'd ask on Monday why I wasn't answering my phone, I'd pull out my work phone like, sorry, are you sure you had the right number? I'm not seeing any missed calls. I'd often say called my own cell, so I'd say that I don't really use it much. I leave it home a lot. And when I do check, I've usually got like 40 missed calls. And my voicemail is always full, so I probably miss stuff unless I'm expecting a call at a certain time. And that if he needs to reach me, he should try my work phone because I'm very careful to follow up on any call to that within one business day. He asked me how he could reach me outside of 9 to 5, because he sees I leave my work phone on my desk at night and over the weekend. I said that honestly, I'm not glued to any phone on the weekend, so if he needs me to take a call on the weekend, could he make it a meeting request and put it on my calendar so I know to be available? Or if I know I won't be available to take a call, I can suggest an alternate time to call. He said that wasn't really gonna work for him. More often things come up last minute, and when he calls people on the weekend, it wasn't planned. And that is not calling for a teleconference meeting. He's calling asking people to come in. I said that on the weekends, I usually have commitments that were made 1 to 3 weeks out, and I'm not often able to cancel a previous commitment with under a day notice. So if he needs me in on a weekend, it'd be best if he could schedule that 3 weeks out, so that I know not to make conflicting plans. He said that wasn't possible, and I said okay. He could try and reach out and I'd answer the phone if I heard it ringing, but I wasn't always on the phone, so I might not catch it always. Anyway, I've gone back to ignoring his calls, and my coworkers have gotten kind of frustrated with me saying that coming in on weekends is part of the job, and that I wasn't pulling my weight. I said that I don't know what job they signed on for, but in my job interview, I was promised regular hours, and took my pay based on regular hours. So I'm working regular hours. My coworkers got frustrated, and said that if everyone did what I was doing, nothing would get done. I said maybe nothing should get done then, if it's coming at the cost of y'all not being home for dinner with the family. I don't really think my coworkers see it as an option to say no, so they're angry at me because I'm doing it, and they're not comfortable doing it. Am I the a-hole for not working evenings or weekends? Not the a-hole, but I'd start looking for a new job. This is the answer. I oftentimes don't get why people come to the sub with the work stuff. I mean, some interpersonal issues between people at the same level make sense. But when people have issues with their boss, or the company, or HR, or something, I just don't get it. Because you can be not the a-hole all day, and it means absolutely nothing, since you're still the one who is going to lose the battle. And Opie will absolutely lose this one, bearing them being so great at their job that they're irreplaceable, which is unlikely. Not the a-hole, but be prepared to be fired soon. Your coworkers and boss are going to be looking for any reason to get you in trouble. And if you are on probation, expect to be let go. I know it sucks, but that's the way these companies bootlickers work. Good on you standing your ground, and shame on the company for lying to you about the job.